All right, it's 10 minutes before 7 o'clock. Welcome back. And now, the feud over the estate of the late gospel singer Lundi Tyamara has sparked a conversation about the importance of drawing up a will. Women claiming to be mothers of the artist's children are allegedly demanding that the artist's royalties be paid to them. Just last week, it was National Wills Week, and experts say that despite initiatives such as these, many people still die without either drafting or updating their will. But to talk to us more about this issue, we're joined by Hanoneshea Hendricks. She's National Legal Manager at Legal Aid South Africa. Good morning to you, and thank you so much for coming through.
Good morning, Palesa.
Thank you so much indeed. You know, I just made a reference to Lundi Tyamara's case. It's a little bit complicated, but let's just look at the importance of, having or owning, drafting, and, also renewing your will.
So the importance is that it gives expression to what you wish to have happened to your estate. It clearly indicates who you want to inherit your property. It also minimizes, as you've mentioned, conflicts, because after you've passed, there's no doubt about what you wanted to have happen, who you want to be beneficiaries of your estate.
But talk to us about the attitudes. I mean, previously we know that a lot of people were not necessarily interested. I don't know if it was lack of education about wills, but not many people had their wills in place. How are things? Are they changing now?
Well, there's more awareness about having a will, and we've seen that more people do have will. But as you've mentioned, not nearly enough. We do still see a lot of conflicts that are created when people pass without having a will. After democracy, many people also became owners of immovable property, which is also something that creates a lot of conflict if you do not have a will when you pass.
But why do you still find a large number of people without wills? Is it because I know young people, some of them would be, would say that, no, I'm still young, I don't think I'll die anytime soon, I'll have it at a later stage. Is that the case?
Young people never think of that because they think it's not time yet. I have to be old to do that. Secondly, people think that you have to have a lot of money. You have to be a millionaire to do a will or make a will, leave an estate. And that is not true. Anybody can make a will when you are older than 16 years and competent to do that, not meaning you are not mentally incapable of making a will. Yes.
Yeah. Talk to us about, the worst scenarios that you had to come across when a person dies without a will, whether they have, dependents or not. What happens? What usually comes out of that situation?
So when people die without a will, all the dependents, biological children, become beneficiaries. So what we find is that after a person passes, many biological children or family members come out of the woodwork that the direct family might not have known about. And this is the kind of thing that creates conflict then between the families, because people start disputing whether they are in fact biological children of the deceased.
All right, so when they don't have dependents, is it a much more smoother process than when they have?
Generally, it's smoother if you do not have dependents, and if you die without a will, you will look to the parents, if the parents are alive, and those would be the people that becomes beneficiaries.
But we've also heard of, circumstances whereby things end up going to the Master of High Court. Talk to us about that.
I am not aware of that it goes to the Master, but the Master of the High Court's role is that it oversees the administration of all deceased estates. So every estate, when you have to report the deceased estate, it must be reported to the Master, and they oversee that the requirements of the acts are complied with. They are also the person that will accept the will, the last will and testament of the deceased.
All right. But what happens? Can I draft my own will, or does it have to be drafted by a legal advisor or a lawyer or an attorney? Talk to us about the legalities when drafting one.
You can draft your own will. It's not always advisable. So it is advisable that you go to an attorney, that you go to a legal advisor, a legal professional. Financial advisors are capable to do this. Banks can also do that. The reason it is advisable is there's certain legal requirements and formalities that a will must comply with. And so if you have that legal advice and expertise expert person looking at your will, you make sure that your will is valid. Because if it's not valid, it's not something that can be enforced. If you do not have funds to go to a legal professional, you can contact our Legal Aid South Africa Legal Aid Advice line. This is a toll-free line. It is 0800 110 110, and we can give you advice on what a will must look like, what the requirements of the will is. What you can also walk into one of our 128 offices and you can present the document so that we can look at it to give you advice on whether it is actually a valid document, whether it complies with the requirement.
All right, so you cannot blame it on financial constraints to say, I don't have a will in place.
Yes.
You offer it for free.
Yes, we offer legal advice for free. As I said, the toll-free number. If you are a cell phone user and you don't have a landline, we also have the Please Call Me service. So you can send us a Please Call Me on 079 835 7179, and we'll call you back and provide you with a legal advice. For those of us who's techno savvy, we also have a website, and on the website you can log a query and we will also contact you.
All right, okay. But then how important is it to update the will, and how often should you do that?
That's a very important question. When significant things happen in your life, it's always important to update your will, because the last will and testament of the deceased is the one that will be accepted. So if you get married, for example, your circumstances change, and you have to make sure that your will now express what you really want to have happen, meaning that your spouse benefit. When you have children, that you include your children. When you are divorced, it's very important to consider updating your will, because the law will make provision for a 3-month period after you get divorced, if you should pass in that period, that you did not want your ex-spouse perhaps to inherit. But after that 3 months, and if you have not changed your will, the law accepts that you did want your ex-spouse to inherit. So that is a very important thing that people should.
So it is important for every change that happens in your life to make sure that you update your will.
Yes.
All right. Okay, let's leave it at that. Thank you so much for talking to us here on Morning Live.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, talk to us about your take on owning a will at Morning Live. SABC is our Twitter handle. And if you would want free assistance, legal advice, the number to dial is 079-835-7179. You can just send them a Please Call Me. They will get back to you. Let's take a break on Morning Live, 3 minutes before news at 7. Stay tuned.